So we're seeing that the shutdown may go at least to October 18th. Why October 18th? What is going on October 18th? Why is Schumer pushing for this to take place? We're going to discuss October 18th and the importance of it, not because it's any value to us as conservatives or even Americans, but it's absolutely backing the things that are against America. Wait till you hear this story. Even Bernie Sanders is saying, we've got to do this. We've got to keep this shutdown going until this point because of Trump the dictator. Wait till you hear what they plan on October 18th. They can't learn their lessons, man, I'm telling you. Also, you know, we talked about the peace agreement. We talked about Israel ceasing back, pulling back. Well, just like terrorists they are, wait till you see what Hamas did. They did a cleansing of the Gaza Strip. Now they take over power and they start taking out Gazans and Palestinians. Isn't it funny how there's no news media coverage on it? Where's all the liberals that were just up in arms about Israel? Where's all the woke right? Hamas is killing Gazans and Palestinians. We're going to discuss that story because we didn't actually gain anything other than seeing terror for what terror are. Let's discuss that story. Also, we're going to talk about how the pro-Palestine movie is still taking place. There's a monster march going on. It showed that it was never about the Palestinians and Gazans. It was about the hatred towards the Jews. Gosh, pay attention to this story. We're going to discuss that. And lastly, we're going to discuss the woke right. Once again, Muslim Brotherhood, who is now supporting Hamas and terror and all this stuff and how we're just allowing this for infiltration of America, they come out again, once again saying how thankful they are for people like Tucker Carlson, for Candace Owens, for some of those, because what they're actually doing is helping the movement. They even bring up Marjorie Taylor Greene, bring up all these people that are supposedly on the right, and they're saying these are the best friends to the Muslim Brotherhood. Does that make you feel better about your support towards them? I told my wife this yesterday. Pay attention to whose side everybody is going to, because that tells you, when you look at their friends, who they actually value and who they don't value, who they make as enemies. Let's dive into these stories today and a few more. This video starts right now. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here on this beautiful, beautiful day. And again, we're so thankful for Sunday. Please, I hope that you took your family to church today, and I hope that you're taking them back this evening, have a Bible study, thank God for the blessings that we have, and not take those for granted. I just want to make sure that we understand that we are so blessed to wake up in this country each and every morning. That's why I do this channel, to make us realize the value of having freedom, having liberty, and of all, serving our God. Now let's dive into these stories for the day. First, let's talk about Hamas and the cleansing of the Gaza Strip. Let's go over just a few stories. We're just going to hit on just some that have made major news, but for some reason, the woke right, the liberals, the main news sources won't talk about this. They'll still talk about how bad Israel is. Listen to this. This is from Morona Fall, one of the biggest journalists and independent people on Twitter. Hamas takes back Gaza. Quote unquote, their goal is to cleanse the strip, order issued. Hamas has reportedly recalled around 7,000 members of its security forces from southern and central Gaza back into the areas recently vacated by the Israeli troops in the Gaza City and in the north. The order sent via phone text called for the general mobilization and the cleansing of Gaza outside, along with the collaborators of Israel, saying anyone that supported this peace agreement is no longer part of us. So guess what they start doing? Taking people to the streets and killing them. It's unbelievable. The order, armed units, some in uniforms, others disguised as civilians, have been redeployed across the northern districts, setting up checkpoints to control the Gaza Strip and the Palestine area once again. Meaning that if they would allow Israel to take these people out, like I first said, because peace will never really truly happen, what you're actually seeing is they're just becoming back in control, and they're going to just rebrand themselves as more control elements. And now the question is, are they going to start bombing back in Israel? Are they going to start trying to cause problems for Israel? If so, Israel just needs to, just like Trump said, annihilate them. It says Hamas has also appointed 5 new governors and former brigade commanders to oversee the transition. This raises fears that the renewed internal violence, just as Trump's ceasefire plan says, that they will not disarm and they will keep on pushing forward. This is what I'm talking about. You cannot negotiate with these people. I don't want to see any war. I don't want to see any conflict. But until you eradicate it, It's going to keep on happening. You know, when they tell you, well, you've got the stomach virus, and you have symptoms, you have problems, and all of a sudden, you're like, well, I haven't thrown up today, so I must be better. No, you still have that reverberating sickness and that virus that's going in your body. So therefore, just take a few days and make sure it's all out of your system before you come back around, your friends, your church, your work, your school, whatever it may be. Because you didn't eradicate it if all of a sudden you go into the school the next day, or go into the church the next day, or you go into work next day. You thought you were healed, but actually you still had that symptom there. And then all of a sudden it spreads. Well, we're in the same situation here where we didn't fully eradicate it. We tried to negotiate it, and we tried to show quote-unquote peace, but absolutely what we're doing is we're just allowing for that symptom to keep on coming back, and it's going to rear its ugly head once again. They have now taken over the Gaza Strip again. So this reminds me of when we left Afghanistan, and all of a sudden we left everything over there. Taliban gets stronger than they've ever been. Did you know we're still paying the Taliban $40 million a week? You do realize that, right? So what I mean is this: if you don't eradicate the problem, there is no peace. There is no peace. That leads me to the next story, because Gaza is bad enough. But let's talk about the Palestine movement. And is it really, are we seeing peace? Or did these rallies and these destroying of rights and these protests all over America, all over Europe, all over the world, did it really actually, was it really for the Gazans and for the Palestinians? No. Here's my point. Kamala's book tour turns into a Palestinian protest encore. So now remember, it's supposedly peace, correct? And the Republicans are the ones that did it, but Democrats were all against Israel from the get-go. Well, now Kamala, second time that she's on this book tour, and now they're saying that she is the cause of it, and we know that you didn't do anything to help the pro-Palestine movement. You can't win with these people. And see, the Democrats try to rein these people in and get them to vote, but they're Antifa members. All they are is a pro-anarcho destroying of America's state. I want you to listen to this, and this is from Laura Loomer. She shared this. This is part of the Quran. The only reward for the Muslim people is that you have war upon people who are against Allah and His messengers. We will take them and cut them off. It says, do you really want them to be an ally of ours? Do you honestly believe that any of these people could ever have peace and be allies with Israel or America or any of the West? Because their goal is for no coexistence of anyone who does not support their version of religion. So you can't win with this. For example, listen to this. This is actually from More on the Fault again. It says, Hamas just came out and said Trump's disarmament plan is out of the question. So now they agree to something, then they turn around and backdrag on it. And they said the ceasefire still holds. However, we will not lay down our weapons. Do you honestly believe, since they're quote-unquote not laying down their weapons, that this is actually going to get better? Listen, in London, now remember, the UK has overtaken. Around 500,000 people after the peace negotiation that Israel pulls out, and supposedly Gaza and Palestine are better off without Israel there. Hamas takes over. But listen to this. After this takes place, a pro-Palestinian protester rally starts off saying death to IDF, death to the West, death to America. 500,000 people gather in central London, according to the organizers, to, despite the ceasefire, to say this is no ceasefire, we still should take over Israel. See, you see, the point was never peace and comfort for the Gazans and Palestinians. They were just pawns. I've told you that. That's why Egypt has this big wall. Go look at the wall between Egypt and Gaza. It's like you're keeping apocalypse of zombies out. It's that crazy. It's way bigger than the American border with Mexico. But no, you don't hear about that. You don't hear about the woke right talking about that. You don't hear about the left talking about that. You don't even hear about the Muslim countries talking about that. It shows that all the Palestinians and the Gazans are just pawns. It goes back to, you could go back in Scripture. It's amazing how these people have always been the pawns. The Philistines, the Philistia, this is the Palestine people. They were always used as pawns from the West, from the other parts of Muslim faith, and now they're always going to be used as that, and you see it, prime example. It was never about that. This rally of 500,000 people in London, it shows that London is overtaken. You might as well wipe your feet with this, throw off your dust of your mat, and walk away, because it's done for. And America's not far behind it if we keep allowing for this Sharia law to keep happening. If we keep allowing for the support and the sympathizing of this Muslim Brotherhood in America. Because that's what's happening. They're considered a 501(c)(3), so therefore everybody's giving money to them and they can keep spreading this thing like Laura Loomer says, is that basically they're just funding more terror. It's happening. Why are we allowing Qatar access to our airports and our Air Force bases? It makes no sense. They do not want peace with us. Now, can we have some kind of relationship with them because we get oil or because we trade certain things in intelligence? Yes. But these are not friends of ours. I want you to listen to what the Muslim Brotherhood just released. Second time they've released this, but this proves my point of how you cannot trust these people. Muslim Brotherhood analyst just came out. His name was Sam Hamdi. Praises Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Marjorie Taylor Greene for their anti-Zionist ways. A video shared by Dinesh D'Souza features Sami Hamdi, a London-based analyst aligned with the Muslim Brotherhood, commenting that Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and the Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, in opposition to Zionism and U.S. support of Israel, has actually helped our movement. Hamdi attributed policy shifts such as President Donald Trump's restraint on Iran strikes and actually causing really bad damage, other than the little bit, was all because the woke right is becoming supporters of Muslims. This is just unbelievable that we don't see this for what it is. We're so blinded. I want you to listen to the son of Hamas's leader. His name is Massad Hassam Youssef. Listen to this. Most of the atrocities that happened on October 7th were not only committed by Hamas, it was committed by the civilians. The civilians were the ones who did most of the kidnappings and most of the heinous crimes versus women that happened. He said, don't believe that the Palestinians and Gazans are honest, hardworking people. He said they are in full lockstep support of Hamas. These people do not want peace. These people want the end of America and the end of Israel. Please understand that. You know, the people I told you were in the streets praising Trump yesterday from the pro-Palestine side, from Palestine, from the people, the Gazans moving back in. That's the ones that Hamas just said we're cleansing Gaza of. Because if there's someone who is helping, someone of a corroborator, someone who wants peace with Israel, they do not deserve to be in Gaza. So do we see peace right there? Is that really what we think peace is? They're going to Kamala Harris rallies and dogging the left out too. So what the left tries to do is they try to kind of wrangle them in, kind of like a wild animal. We try to tame the wild animal, but to be honest with you, it's a wild animal. You know, zookeepers all the time get mauled by these animals that they so-called domesticate and train. But ultimately, we have to remember it's a wild animal. So what the Democrats are trying to do is wrangle them and make them tame and control them, and it's not happening. And the woke right is coming alongside thinking they can do the same thing. This is a failed situation, and we just need to admit that. We need to kind of disassociate ourselves with the woke right too, because what they're doing is actually causing more pain and more strife for not only the Trump administration, but for America in general. And I believe they will be the ones to actually bring in things like Sharia law, things like sympathizing of Muslims, things like the support of Muslim Brotherhood right into America, because they hate Israel that much. It's so sad that we're actually seeing this. I want you to listen to what Amir Tafarti said. And this is a Christian pastor who lives in Israel right now, and I think he made great sense. And again, it breaks my heart that we're even in this spot. He said, it's heartbreaking to watch more and more sincere Christians fall prey to the massive wave of social media propaganda designed to smear Israel. Heartbreaking, yet not surprising. These are the days of the great testing and deep deception. Only the Word of God can align your heart with truth. Only the Holy Spirit can give you discernment and need to see through these lies. I think that's the key. Brandon Tatum says this: you don't catch up with the audience to inform them. Only grifters change their message to keep up with the news trend. He said real leaders and generational changers inform and equip their audience with truth no matter what the cost is. We have to realize that all these grifters, the Candace Owens, all these people, they're leading you astray. And they're making the mind change of who really allies are and who the people against us are. Proof point, 2 points, and then we're going to move on to the October 18th situation. We're allowing Mamdani pretty much to win this mayorship. He just came out and said, we are in favor of abolishing all private property that the government should now own, and it should be under government rule. This is the same person who is a Muslim who says that government has all the answers, not freedom and choice. Remember, this is kind of going back to Sharia law. They're over you. They're a theocracy over you. not you having freedom. It's them having freedom over you. Another story, this is the one that's even more serious, and we just act like it's no big deal. It's from Uri Geller. Uri Geller is part of a kind of elite group in Israel intelligence. And it says that some people think he's a legit psychic, which I don't believe that. But listen to what he says. He says, I urgently warn President Trump not to go to Egypt. There is no such thing as peace. I have a terrible feeling that something will happen and that there will be major attempts on his life. I'm getting bad signals. Now, you don't have to believe that. But what he's saying is just what we've been talking about, is that you can't trust this peace negotiation with Muslim leaders because they used Gaza as pawns. So they're going to quote unquote try to get peace, but ultimately they're going to get something out of this. Look, Qatar, I mean, here they are. They're sitting at our back doors now. So what is Egypt wanting? What is Jordan wanting? What is Saudi wanting? See, these people are not in it to actually benefit America. They're in to benefit their religion, and their religion is to see death to America and Israel. Come on, pay attention to these stories because they're not trying to be our friend. It's amazing how we have dissociations. If Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Candace Owens is on one side, they're actually on the same side as the left, the anti-Israel propaganda, along with Muslims. That is the side that they've joined with. Do you realize that? And for the right, the people like us, Donald Trump, the people that they say they support, they're on the side of Israel, of Hungary, of all these other countries that are our allies. So it's just like amazing to me that we're making them the bad guy and we're making the Muslims the good guy. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. All in the name of their hatred towards a group of individuals. It's sad. Now let's go to the last story of the day, because this is the one that matters the most when it comes to America First thought pattern. Now, Trump did come out and say yesterday, made a monster announcement that he's finding ways to pay the military on the 15th. That's wonderful. That's amazing. That's what I was telling you yesterday. If Trump can find a way to not have to worry about the shutdown and say that we can fire the people that we need to fire, lay off the people we don't need in these jobs, get rid of some of these government agencies, and then on top of that, pay the military, it's a win-win. The shutdown actually is not bad. But Trump is saying we've got to get a resolve to this shutdown. Well, Chuck Schumer came out and said that, no, we will not have resolve till October 18th. Now, why is that a big deal about October 18th? October 18th is a No Kings protest. I want you to listen to this. This is from Eric Doherty. Speaker Johnson is absolutely furious after learning that Schumer plans to keep the government closed until after the Antifa-involved No King rally in D.C. on October 18th. You remember me trying to say domesticate an animal that's wild? This is what Chuck Schumer and the Democrats are wanting. They can't get the illegal, so now they're trying to go back to Antifa and the Arco state. It says, it's being told to us that we cannot reopen their own government because they want to support the anarchy of Antifa. They have a Hate America rally scheduled for October 18th in the National Mall. Pro-Hamas Antifa people, they are all coming out. House Democrats are selling t-shirts to this event. I had it with these people. They're playing games with real people's lives and ultimately supporting what the Antifa rally, pro-Hamas Palestinian rally, stands for. No Kings protest. It's amazing that they're wanting kings like Mamdani, who's saying you can't have private land anymore. They're supporting the Muslim Brotherhood, who is basically saying theocratically that we're going to be over all the people that's in our area, that we believe in Sharia law. It's amazing that they call it a No Kings protest. It literally is an oxymoron. Listen to this. This is from Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is telling Americans to attend next week's No King protest. Previous No King protest in Washington, D.C. featured Antifa signs showing 8647 chants. You remember that? What 8647 stands for? And bust-in protesters. Senate Democrats are such deranged that they are trusting and supporting these people and selling the merchandise to be at these rallies. So who actually loves America and who doesn't? Who actually supports America and who doesn't? Why should we worry about October 18th? Not because of the protests, but because 50% of America, the Democrats, are standing up to ultimately sell you signs to tell you how dangerous your president is, all the while supporting true dictatorship and taking your freedom away. Like Mamdani is telling you that private land should be abolished. Bernie Sanders, who wants to take more taxes from you. Do you realize that? He wants more taxation on you, over 50%. And they're selling 8647 signs, which means attempt on the president's life. October 18th, we should be worried about it, and we should be worried about our president. He should have better protection. Now we're sending them to Egypt to set up a peace agreement with these same people who want hatred towards America and death to America, death to Israel. Oh, and hey, who needs enemies when you have friends like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson? This is what I'm saying. We have to pay attention to this. I mean, the latest thing from Candace Owens is saying now that the government was fully involved. I mean, she's wrote this whole article. We have now crowdsourced that looks like that the tragedy with Charlie Kirk in Utah was planned around July 18th. So it means 2 or 3 months before the government, the American government, working with Israel, working with all these other players, that Charlie Kirk had to die. When Charlie and Trump were the best of friends, when Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump were the best of friends of Charlie Kirk, when J.D. Vance, the VP, is one of his dearest friends, when Kash Patel is one of his dearest friends that served alongside him, Candace Owens, in her foolishness, is now saying they all had part in it. The plane flew from Provo direct to France September 4th and then stayed there until September 11th. These are the delusions of people who are somehow winning the minds and the propaganda wars and making the right turn against its own allies and sympathizing with Muslims and Antifa. One day we're going to wake up and we're going to say, how did we get here? And then hopefully we'll remind ourselves that these people were the ones the problem. Guys, pay attention today. We have to protect our president. We have to protect our sovereignty, our freedom, and our liberty. And these woke right people, these Democrats, this October 18th push, none of this is supporting freedom, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And of course, serving our God. It's the exact opposite. Do not be brainwashed to trust these people. Guys, let me know your thoughts for today's video. God bless. Yeah,